Hey guys, welcome back to Finn Scales and Fluffy Tails. Today I am filming a video on the update for the 10-gallon tank. So it has been a few months since you guys have seen this tank, and that is because the shrimp just needed some time to get going and the plants did too. So I guess I'll start at the top. So I did have to remove the duckweed from this tank a few times. I think I took it out, I remember taking it out at least 3 times, because what ends up happening is, so I only have one tank with live plants. So what happened was the duckweed was covering the entire top of the tank and blocking the light from the rest of the plants down below. So to avoid that, I have had to keep removing duckweed so that it doesn't get too overgrown. As you guys can see, the plants have been doing really well in here, and we have a lot more shrimp now. So what ended up happening was, as you guys know, I started out with 5 cherry red shrimp and 2 yellow shrimp. And then I got a few more shrimp that were red a few days later, but I only had 2 yellow ones. All of these babies that are like that brownish color, those are the babies of the yellow shrimp. Because the only males that I had in the tank were red. So, and what usually ends up happening is when the red shrimp breed with the yellow shrimp, they end up making brown. And originally, I was thinking about what I wanted to do. Originally, I was going to take the brown shrimp out of the tank, give them back to the store, and start all over with red shrimp. But Alex and I kind of like them. We kind of like fell in love with our shrimp, so we couldn't give them back. So we do have some red ones still, and we have some red babies in here too. As you can see on that Anubias leaf back there, that is a red baby. So some of the babies are going to be red. And today, Alex and I bought 5 guppies to put in the tank. And I have been watching them for a while, and they have been fed. So far, they've been doing really good. They don't really go after the shrimp a whole lot, mainly because most of the shrimp we have in here are big, and the babies have plenty of little tiny hiding spaces if they would need to get away from the guppies. Which is why I wanted to make sure that before I added any fish to this tank, that the plants could have a little bit to like kind of grow up and grow out so that the shrimp would have places to hide. Now right now the shrimp are dining on some Shrimp King, and I just fed the guppies some brine shrimp because the guppies were like immediately looking for food as soon as I let them into the tank. So I was like, oh crap, I don't want them to go after the shrimp, so I'll feed them something. So I thawed some brine shrimp to feed them, and so far they've been doing really good. I might actually name these guppies. There's 5 of them in there, and they are all males. And the reason I did that is because this is only a 10-gallon. I don't have any other tanks for guppies that I could set up. The only other tank I have is Pascal's 20-gallon long, and any guppies I put in there would probably be eaten by him at some point. So I don't really want this tank to become overpopulated with guppies, so I have decided to do a males-only tank. Now, if I have trouble with this tank, with the males like fighting or anything, I'll probably end up returning some of them to the store. But I was thinking about putting a beta in here. Like basically the 2 types of fish I had as ideas for this tank were guppies and a beta. And I really love betas. They are my favorite fish, even though people think of them as a beginner fish. So, as I was saying, a lot of people think of betas as beginner fish, but they are my favorite. However, we decided against a beta because we were worried that a beta would just destroy all the shrimp we already had and kill them. And I didn't want that since this was like a really long project for me. And like, it has seemed to take a long time, but sometimes in the aquarium hobby, you just have to wait. Not everything is going to happen all at once. You're not going to get that really nice ecosystem you want overnight. And this tank has been in progress since September, I think. So it's been a while, and I'm just now adding fish, and it's January. So, you know, you have to weigh the pros and cons of everything. And we just thought the risk was too high to put a beta in here, even though I would have loved it. And the thing about betas is that some betas would probably do fine in here. Others would probably want to kill all the shrimp. So it's really hard to pick a beta out at the store, especially if they're in those individual cups and they're not already living in a community tank. Basically, if you get a beta from a community tank, the chances of it attacking other fish is probably slim. But if you buy it from like Petco or PetSmart and it's in an individual cup, you have no idea what its personality is going to be like until you bring it home and you put it in the tank. So, and then for a while the beta might be okay, and then one day you'll come downstairs and all your shrimp will be dead. So it really does just depend on the fish, the type of setup you have. So we decided to go with a male only guppy tank. Now, I have heard the risks of having a male only guppy tank, mainly because the main risk I've heard is that the males will fight because there are no females to mate with, so they'll try to mate with each other and get frustrated and start fighting. If that happens, I may just have to remove them, but these male guppies were in a tank at a local fish store with mostly other males. There were some females in there too, but it was mostly other males that they were living with, and they weren't aggressive then. There are only 5 of them, and this is a 10-gallon, so they should have plenty of room to get away from each other and plenty of cover and like plants to break up the line of sight, which is why I have a lot of tall plants in here. So hopefully this tank will just continue to look good. Oh my gosh, the shrimp are in a feeding frenzy. And just so you guys know, with the amount of shrimp in here, I put like 3 blocks of the Shrimp King down there. By tomorrow morning, all of those blocks will be gone. That's how many shrimp I have now. And Alex and I were traveling for the holidays, so we didn't get to see this tank for a little while. So, and then when we came back, it seemed like there was like a population explosion. We were noticing more and more babies, so some more babies hatched out while we were gone. But this tank did really well on its own, seemingly. And I don't know, it's continuing to do really well. Now, something I will say that I've been doing recently is I have been decreasing the amount of light. The light that is on this tank does come with its own timer. You can have it on for like 3 hours, 6 hours, or 12 hours. And I was keeping the light on for 12 hours, but I did reduce it down to 6 for a little bit to try to maybe give the plants a break. While we traveled, I kept it up at 12 because that's what the plants and the animals were used to. And I didn't want to try to change everything before we left on the trip. So, let's get focus. There we go. So I definitely wanted to make sure that everything was cool before we left, but everybody seemed to do fine. I had the people watching our other animals feed this tank one time while they were here. I didn't want them to feed it a lot because I didn't want them to overfeed, but I really like this Shrimp King food. The shrimp go nuts for it, but I also feed them brine shrimp and bloodworms occasionally, like usually once a week. I'll feed them some kind of protein. But this Shrimp King food has a lot of vitamins and minerals and some protein in it. So the shrimp have been doing really well, making lots of babies, which is what we want. Whoa. So hopefully everybody will be having fun together in this tank and nobody will kill each other. So that's always the hope, right? So I'll let you guys enjoy the guppies for a little bit. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this video. If you like my content, you want to support the channel, click that like button down below and hit the subscribe button, and you will get to see videos like this more often. I don't know exactly how often I'm gonna post about this shrimp tank specifically, but I will keep you guys updated on it because this is my first like nano tank, which I guess it kind of is. I don't know if I would call this a guppy tank or a shrimp tank because it's kind of both, so maybe nano tank is the right word, but this is the first one I've kept, and it's needed the most, well, I guess the least work. The most research about it, the least amount of work. So that's really nice. If you guys have the money and the time and you want to do a planted tank, I say go for it. Honestly, this tank doesn't really take that much upkeep as far as time goes, and it seems to be doing really well. So thank you guys again so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram, and I will catch you on the next one.